individual copy, and we're gonna put on his obituary on the website.
Sorry, would you like it to the right
The
or the
link
left?
to the video.
Right or the left?
On the obituary.
Okay.
So they
I'll just put it in the place of the
so you don't believe the story, or you copy of the link to it. Always be saved on his obituary. Yeah, on the website, we can go back and put it on our website. The obituary is on our website. It'll always be in there. Yeah, we can do that. But I will also see if I can maybe put it onto a drive that gives you an actual copy of it. So however you like, we're going to have you front and center in that first bench, right? Right in the front. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we're going to come forward a little bit on the casket. Space here. Very good.
In the shade of
Well, actually, they're doing it together, and then you can try it. Okay? Good. Make pound cake?
Yeah, we
Yes,
did.
yes.
We're good.
Family friends, please have a
What's
seat.
that?
Keep them listening.
Yes.
So we do have something right now.
She's kind of taking over the.
I'm trying to help the
Yeah,
technique,
she's
situation here, so that's great. And so we did share on the YouTube channel. The relatives.
Sure.
Family friends, welcome to the National Memorial Cemetery of Arizona. My name is Jaime. On behalf of the director and staff, we'd like to offer our sincere condolences. I would also like to thank you for choosing the cemetery of your loved one's final resting place. Military honors will consist of playing of taps and holding a presentation of our nation's colors. During the playing of taps, if you are a veteran, either past or present, that will be your time to render one final salute. Everyone else may join in by placing their right hand over their heart. Family friends, if you're able to stand for the military honors. Thank you.
Well, we're grateful to all those of you who have been able to be here today. Also, we give thanks to the gentlemen from the military who have, with precision, honored Dan's service today. How nice it is to see that a man so deserving receives the thanks and honors that have been given and rendered today. Jerry asked me to read some letters to you, and just a couple of words as we gather. The first letter that I have comes from one of Dan's childhood friends. Not ready. It's his name is Ken Anderson, and they grew up together. And Ken sent this letter. He said, "Dear Jerry, please accept my deepest sympathy regarding Dan's passing. I have known Dan since we were about 12 years old. Growing up in a small village, we spent much of our time doing many of the same things. I remember Dan and I working together, setting pins at the bowling alley for 10 cents a line. Sometimes on a Friday night, we would get a fish fry after setting pins. Dan was one of my classmates whom I always admired and respected so much. He was everything I was not. Dan was an excellent student, popular, and a star athlete. And he excelled at everything he did. He succeeded in college. Then Dan had distinguished service in the military, where he served his country with great pride, and then went on to have a very successful career as an attorney. I am deeply saddened to know that there will be an empty chair at the next door Abbey class reunion. It was always wonderful to have Dan attend, and I am so thankful that you and Dan came to our last one. I know he was quite sick at the time, and it says a lot about him that he made the trip. Everyone was so glad to see both of you. He will be missed by all of us who grew up knowing Dan. I have been praying for Dan and your entire family. Be assured I will continue to pray for strength and comfort. May the memories of Dan be a blessing to everyone who knew and loved Dan. Sincerely, Ken Anderson." A beautiful letter. The next one that I have is from, I believe, an acquaintance that Dan was able to know in his career, through his career. He said, "Dear Mrs. Thomas Jantsch, it is with deep sadness I read of your loss and Dan's passing. I first met Dan around 2001 when he was assigned to represent me in a truly frivolous lawsuit. This was my first experience, and it was devastating. It was devastating emotionally to me, my wife, and my practice. Dan represented me with an unbelievable fervor and zest, being able to convince not only the jury, as well as the judge who came up to me when he recognized me shopping at a store. No sooner was that case won when it was followed by a Me Too case from an attorney who was just sitting in the wings looking to feed off the first case. Dan did such a good job on that case that during the deposition, the plaintiff's attorney called it off and withdrew their complaint. He last represented me to the Arizona Board of Medical Examiners against a complaint where jealousy and envy by other physicians prompted a frivolous accusation that was later withdrawn. My first work with Dan was most notable because it was so devastating to me and so negatively affected my family, marriage, practice, and my interaction with patients. It was so devastating to hear the negative comments by the plaintiff's attorney as they tried to destroy the physician. Dan was there with his support, care, skill, and I believe his love to help where he could do the most. He buoyed me up when down and allowed me to continue the work that I had begun. Because of him, I was able to expand my practice from one office in Scottsdale to 4 offices in Arizona and five international offices. His work and help for me allowed me to continue to expand and helped countless patients. I'm very sorry and saddened that I was not aware of Dan's struggle and fight with his heart. I will make sure that he continues to live in my heart and the hearts of my family. May our wonderful Father in Heaven's love and blessings support you and your family during this difficult time. As Christ lives, Dan does too in heaven, as well as in the hearts and souls of so many lives that he touched. On a lighter note, I may need his help one more time when I approach the pearly gates. I hope he can put in a good word and represent me to St. Peter. This is with deepest sympathies of Gordon L. Grotto, MD.
Mr. Grotto sitting next to you.
Mr. Grotto, thank you for being here today, and thank you for those kind words. It means a lot that you would be here and to say such nice things. We're saddened by a loss like this, but it helps us to know that he was a good man who did good work and helped good people.
Always a good bad guy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we celebrate him and his goodness here today. Again, I thank you for being here. I thank you for the kind words, the floral tributes, the expressions of sympathy and love that have been shared. Truly, I know that Jerry is so grateful for that love and support. And for all those that couldn't be here but are joining in electronically, thank you for your love and support as well. Let us continue to remember the family in the coming days, weeks, and even months ahead that may be difficult. Remember to send those cards or a quick phone call, check in, and see that everything's okay. We do that with love and support from one another. So again, thank you for the love and support that you've shown by being here and joining us today. If anybody has anything they'd like to share, this would be a good time to do that.
I'll lean on Dan for a little support. My name is Dwayne Olson. Can I take this off while I talk? My name is Dwayne Olson. I was Dan's partner, one of his partners for probably 30, 40, 35 years anyway. And it's sad to see him gone. I really haven't adjusted yet to not having him around. We just saw him. Tom and I were up, was it 2 weeks ago or something like that? Just a couple days before he died. But Jerry asked me if I would just prepare some remarks about the work we did and the life that Dan had professionally. And so when I was 50, I used to try lawsuits and give an hour speech without a note. Now that I'm 78, I had trouble finding the place. But here we go. Dan, Tom, and I met at the firm of Birch Cracchiolo in the 70s. We were hired as associate lawyers, which meant we had no ownership interest, just lawyers. We weren't there at the same time, but we all got there at some time. The firm did insurance defense work, primarily defending doctors who had been sued for medical malpractice. We were assigned to work in this section of the firm. Over the next 5 years, we defended medical malpractice, legal malpractice, doctors accused of bad misconduct, etc. in the firm. The large firm we were in wanted to get rid of the part of the firm we were in. And so we actually left there, Tom, Dan, and I, and a couple of other people, and formed our own firm. We called the new firm we formed, and this was about 30 years ago, as best I can remember. Olson, Jantsch, and Bacher, the three of us, and we had about 5 lawyers at the time, or something like that. This firm lasted for over almost 30 years. We were together. All of us retiring when we needed to retire. The large firm we were with wanted to get rid of us, and so we formed a new firm. This firm lasted for 30 years. We continued to work in medical malpractice cases. Dan and I, my handwriting isn't the greatest. Before the Dan and I spent a lot of time before the medical board, is what I'm trying to say. It was one of the things that we did for physicians when they get in trouble with their board and their license was at stake. Dan and myself, Dan, and there were a lot of other lawyers that did this. Did a lot of cases over at the medical board and were very successful in getting almost all these doctors we represented, either in a program or forgiven. Dan was especially good at cases before the medical board. One client of Dan's, St. Paul Insurance, sent him nearly all their medical malpractice cases. The largest insurance company, which was Micah, it still is, sent us all the cases we could handle. Tom, Dan, and I, and then all the people that worked for us, had a huge practice. All 30 years, we never were without cases. We were pretty much jammed up all the time. And that happens when you get good results. And we got good results for these physicians. And they're not easy to represent, trust me. You know, they expect the thing to be over just like that. And wonder why it's not done yet. Most cases never went to a trial that we had. They were settled and dismissed. Dan almost always won when he went to trial. But cases were settled when they needed to be settled. And here's some of the things that I saw in Dan over the almost 40 years we were together. He had excellent qualities as a lawyer, there's no question about it. I mean, anybody who talked to that knew Dan knew that, and to last for almost 40 years is really something in this business because it's so competitive. Here are some of the things I listed that Dan typified himself. He was extremely honest. That's the first thing, and the most important thing in our business. And so very, well, so few people that do what we did are. But if Dan told you it was so, it was so. And everybody on the other side knew that. And that was a really important factor. Second thing, Dan was very knowledgeable about the medical cases, which was primarily the cases we did. Over the years, you get to be more doctor than you are lawyer when you do what we did. And Dan was very knowledgeable about the medical cases that he did. And he was very articulate. Remember Dan talking, and you could understand every word he said and made sense out of what he was saying. Especially when you're speaking to a jury, because they're in a fog as to what you're even talking about. But you have to make it really simple so that it means something to them. He was very good at that. He was very organized when presenting his case. Everything fell into place when it was supposed to fall into place for him, which is part of the reason why he was so successful. Because if you don't look like you've got everything all together as a lawyer, and you're trying to win for that guy who's probably not the best witness in the world, you better be organized and make it sound like you know what you're talking about and like you're telling the truth. And the final thing about him that I thought made all the sense and why he was so successful, he was very likable. I mean, forget about the knowledge of medicine and all the rest of that. He just was likable. Everybody liked him. He had a lot of friends in the business. And then say here, although our careers are over, we stayed very good friends. We've been friends with Dan and for a long time. I've been doing trial work for 10 years, and here I stand, and there's Tom, the three of us, all together. During the 30 years together, we assumed that each of us was an equal in ability and to each other. Our compensation was always equal. During all those years, we never fought over money, which is, if you're a lawyer and you don't fight over money, you have to go something else. That's what we did not do. I saw Dan 2 weeks ago. Tom and Charlotte and I drove up and saw Dan a couple weeks before he died. And it was painfully obvious to us that we'd be making another trip up there real soon. He was doing as well as could be expected. Jerry took great care of him. He did well as could be expected, but it was obvious he was almost bedridden then. And when we got the call from Jerry, 2 days before he died, Tom and Charlotte and I drove back up there to say goodbye. And it was hard because Dan was in and out of consciousness, basically. It was like he was sleeping. I'm sure they had him so medicated that he was in no pain from all the problems that he had dealt with. But we went up to see him, and that's the last day that we saw him. And Jerry called 2 days later to let us know that Dan had passed. I wanted to say one thing about Jerry, that she needs to be thanked over and over again for the extraordinary care she gave him. Maybe we'll know someday why Dan died at such a young age. That's always been a question. I have theories, but I'm not going to do it. For now, the best we can do is to be thankful for all the days we had with Dan.
I represent many of his relatives, brothers, nieces, nephews, cousins, who can't be here. At any form of life, whether you were his friend or relative, Dan showed you love. I feel it helps us to process things by looking at photos. So I chose to look at photos over his whole life, and one thing that became very clear to me was how much he wanted to excel and master skills, whether it was walking on homemade stilts at age 6, playing every athletic opportunity that was offered to him, even though he was at a very small school. Then the military, he just dove head first into it and excelled at that. And then the law, he always persevered. And then the love that he showed his family, through thick and thin, and his horses. So I feel very fortunate and honored to be allowed to come today to pay our respect for this person. I feel that our love for him will show and live on in all of our thoughts and words and deeds that we do, and extend that kindness to others in his name. They say when you lose someone you love, you aided angels you know.
Hello, everybody. I'm his G-son, as he would call me. He would always call me son. That's what he was to me. He was one of the greatest men I ever knew. You know, there's 3 words that describe him. He was honorable, humble, and happy. He always had a smile on his face, no matter what. He always corrected me on my enunciation and just, you know, everybody in the family, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But he just had so much love and so much kindness. He was the rock of the family. And with him gone, it's going to be hard. And we're going to miss him very much. He would go out of his way for everybody and anybody with a smile on his face. I lost my train of thought. He touched so many people's lives, and he fought till the end. He was a fighter. He never gave up. He never gave up on me. He never gave up on Mom. He never gave up on any of us. So I hope to be half the man he was when I have kids someday, and when I'm a grandpa someday. He was the greatest grandpa anybody could have, the greatest dad anybody could have, the greatest husband anybody could have, just the greatest brother and partner, and he's gonna be missed a lot. He's gonna be missed. So, yeah, I think that's all I got, but. So I tell him that I love him. He will be forever missed.
At this time, the transport is here to take Dan to his grave site. But when you do, because we're the last service today, we can stay and still share memories. But we will have to transport him to the grave. Yeah. You know, they'll give us an envelope with the location on it. They may have already given that to you. Yeah. So, I'm not sure where, on the far, I think it's over that way up the aisle. If you look over to the far left, or, yeah, that's where the current. Yep, the section, the clock number, everything's there. Those will,
Are you Jerry? Oh my goodness. Joe, you left. I thought you were coming with Sonic. Alan, did you recognize
Yes,
Jerry?
yep, we waved him over.
Oh my God.
I would have been here a half hour earlier, hadn't I?
Told me you were.
Yeah.
You had a lot of issues.
That sounds good. They're waiting. I'm in the main right away.
I didn't
We go for it. Did the, try to find the,
know. You thought it was okay.
well, I think several spots.
You had to have.
Well, there's nobody pitching, catching, anything sports related. We went to the World's Fair together in 1964, and we sang at the World's Fair with the choir. I was a freshman, he was a senior. Dr. Benson was our conductor, and he was he'd be on the floor rolling, no matter where we were, we were on the bus, we were getting off. He just had that knack about it. We had a great time. I mean, we had a lot of time spent together. We both played city ball together, you know, baseball or something. Right. Regina, yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Right, right. He had one of those reports.